And with that said, please help me welcome Tah Groen. Hi.
Hi, I'm so happy to be here
I'm
with
so
you,
happy.
Jen.
Yeah, I'm so happy to have you here too. And I love, like, I don't even remember. We met through Justin Breen, and I don't even remember how I ended up connecting with him. But he's been one of my most fun connections because he makes you rethink everything. Like, like, because we're so like, I shouldn't say we because I don't know if you're like that, but I can get very into like, oh, this is how this is, and this is how this is, especially because I do a lot of business coaching, right? And like things are just kind of certain ways, and then Justin comes along and it's like whatever. So, and then he introduced me to you, and then this human design element just keeps popping up in my life, and then to find out that you've been doing it for so long just like blows me away and makes me instantly attracted to you, and so excited to have you as a guest because anybody who stumbles upon that 20 something years ago is
Yeah,
obviously
yeah, yeah.
um, a way shower. And so yeah, so the show Soulful Prosperity, and I don't really, this is an interview style. I kind of just tell us your journey, how you got here, struggles, triumphs, whatever you want to share with our audience, and then you can take it wherever you want to go.
Wow. Well, thank you so much for having me here. And yes, so why don't we start at that origin of how I found human design? Because that's
Okay.
a really interesting story. I back in the heyday when yoga just started, and there was a lot of you know private clients at that time because there weren't a lot of studios, and I had a number of private clients here. I live in San Diego, and one of my private clients, her name is Mary Baker, and she owned a house in Kauai. And John Martin, who's a well-known human design analyst, and he recently passed, but John Martin was there and introduced my client to human design. And then she was so enamored with it that she got me a reading. And then she also became my benefactor for the International Human Design School. So she paid
Wow.
for the 3-year program, and I started that program in 2006. And yeah, and my profile is one of those profiles that is takes a while to mature. Takes a
Mm.
while to mature. So I have a 6-line profile, which doesn't blossom till the age of 50. So I recently started really embracing my my
Mm.
wisdom for human design. And so, yeah, I've known human design. I've been practicing human design with my family, my friends, but not necessarily launching a business around it. Isn't that
Right.
interesting? Yeah,
Yeah.
because
And
of
so,
this trial and error
yeah.
profile that I have, which is an insecurity, a little bit of like, a little bit of finding the voice, finding that voice, finding that confidence, being comfortable in my own skin, and having to go through a lot of trial, chaos. Yeah, we all
Hmm.
do, and it's our special gift to be able to know what that feels like, right?
Mhm.
The bottom to
Yeah.
rise up to the top.
Hmm. Well, I don't know what's up with my profile, but I've had to hit the bottom like multiple times. My
Yeah.
most recent 3 years ago, and but I do feel a difference. There's a lightness in it finally. Not always. There is some dark energy around some of the circumstances, but I can see them for what they are,
Yeah.
and also I finally like have this sense of like, okay, I get it. Like I don't need to be stronger. I don't need to be
Yeah.
wiser. I don't need, like, I get it. And like I don't
Yeah.
think I've ever felt that way. Like, and I actually know who I am. And I think
Yeah.
that was, you said about finding your voice, and it's funny because I think we all go through that, but we just take different journeys, and it really is about figuring out who you are.
Yeah.
Knowing
Yeah.
the answer to that question.
Right. And understanding that everything that we see outside of us is for us.
Yes.
Is for us.
And everything that we experience,
Yeah.
and and that's been this year, I would say the biggest lesson is to stay out of judgment for me, and not like, oh, but this is good. And that's what I said. That's kind of what Justin does for me. Like, all the things you think are right and proper, and those are like, he's just like it's so,
Yeah.
and I'm like, wow. And like, I've spent so much time like judging for myself, and really deeply for my family, the people that I love, like what's right and what's wrong for them. And like, I
So
can't.
that's shifted. You're saying that shifted, and you're
That
more
has
of
shifted. Like,
a
like
non-judgmental.
seeing the duality, right? I mean,
Yeah.
with every negative, there's a positive, and
Right.
with every positive, there's a negative. So if you're judging the negative, you're never really going to get the gift of the positive.
Right. And when you said in your last show with Justin that you're that lazy aspect, remember how you were not
Yeah,
allowing yourself to
yeah,
be lazy?
yeah.
But that in itself is the most expansive honoring of your highest, purest, most positive self. How are you going to find that if you don't allow yourself to be lazy, so that you can expand into that true person, that ideal of the coherence of your heart expanding? Lazy is not lazy. It's doing a
No,
lot of work.
no,
Yeah.
no. And there's a quote, and I don't even remember who said it. I just came across it again the other day, and I come across it every few years, and I'm like, oh. And it's basically like, um, time is always well spent, no matter what,
Yeah.
if you enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like,
It's about the
so
frequency.
finding that joy and staying out of the judgment, right? Like judging, oh, I should be, like, you hear that. And I work a lot with business owners and entrepreneurs, and they are constantly like, I just don't have enough time. And I just, and it's like,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. So
that's
how do you shift that mindset and realize that anytime that starts going in the wah 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 wah, your frequency is going to affect what's outside of you, which is for us.
yes.
Okay, so if our frequencies are high, we manifest a whole completely different reality. And you're like, oh, I'm in the flow. This is the
Yeah.
zone right now.
And I think
Yeah.
that's the best place in the first place, where if you want to learn how to get into that creator space, that I
Mhm.
am space,
Mhm.
start with time, because that is so tangible, right? Where everything else is, it's so, out there in
Yeah.
the 8D or whatever.
Yeah.
But time, when we're saying, I just don't have enough time, well, breathe
Yeah.
and create that time.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you're like, wait, I had so much time, right? And
Yeah.
here I am just limiting myself. And we paint ourselves into a corner. And just time is an easy one, but we do that with a lot of things. And
Yeah.
I
I have a great story about that. I think it was 20 years ago. I'm in the grocery store, and somebody made that comment. Oh, I'm running out of time. I don't have enough time. And then we sat there and we had this conversation about time and how we could shift that belief
Mhm.
about time and just change the statement to something different.
Yeah.
I have plenty of time. I have all the time in the world.
Yeah.
And just changing that one sentence, changing the words that come out of the mouth
Yeah.
to
And I would, uh,
transcend the frequency to
yeah.
something different.
Yeah.
That's it. That's what the law of attraction is all about. It's like
Yeah.
shifting the words, the beliefs,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So,
And then for my profile, which I don't, I'm just started kind of playing and investigating in the last year, but I've got so much on my plate and several courses that I've been in that I haven't given it my full attention, although it's been amazing. The impact human design has had even on that level. But so my profile is to respond, not
mhm,
initiate.
mhm, mhm,
And that's a time illusion right there. Like, I always feel like I gotta respond immediately. I gotta get ahead of this. I gotta do that.
mhm.
And I can see in hindsight, and grateful for the lessons, but in hindsight, I can see how much I shut myself off from gifts and opportunities and beautiful things that the universe had in store for me, because I was so busy responding immediately and
Right. So that immediate is different for an emotional being, because you are inner authority, which is emotional or solar plex, and only 50% of the planet have defined emotions. And so you impact us with your emotional wave. But because of that, you're meant to wait out that emotional wave and not be spontaneous in decision making, and to
and
take
then
your time,
and then yeah, and because of all that I've been through, I spent most of my life in survival mode. So not only am I rushing to respond, but I was responding. I'm going to speak in the past tense. I was responding out of fear, out of scarcity, out of like the emotions that are not the emotions that you want to use to make decisions.
Yeah, that's it. And so that's why human design is so valuable, because it's the art of differentiation. Everybody has their own unique energy signature. And to see it in a circuit board is really incredible. It transforms lives if you're able to be sensitive enough to the somatics of the body, to the energy of the body, and get out of the mind, get out of the head, and into the subtleties of your emotional wave.
Yeah.
Of your emotional wave. Yeah.
I've been meditating for 20 years now, and still not something I've mastered. It's like, but I'm taking different approaches now, and more the intent is more about that consciousness and the awareness, where it was just meditation, 20 minutes and, mindfulness and like just a little different approach. And I can feel a huge difference. And I can feel it's enabled me to have that ability to not just respond out of like those first initial
right, because your nervous system is getting soothed. You're calming the nervous system. That's the first step, is that self-care, that's calming of the system, so that you can pause. You can take that pause and not feel fight or flight or PTSD, like like that.
I think I was guilty of
Soothes the body.
yeah. I think I was guilty for a long time of what so many people are, right? And you probably see this with yoga students. It's like we in the yoga studio, we're this yogi. And then we get out and you get in the car and you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, exactly. Right? You see that.
So I had this like, and now I've come into my wholeness, right? And I can be who I am. No, let your dog come on.
He's like, I want to be a part of this. He always does. He's like, oh, she's gonna be on. She's gonna sit there, and I'm gonna be part of it.
But I coming into the wholeness and being able to bring it into every area of your life, because it doesn't really do you any good if you get off the mat or off the cushion. And
and what's interesting is that cushion is not always fun.
No.
And so, that's the part that is frightening, and that's when the edge happens. Oh, I have a great story about this.
Okay.
How that deeper awareness or that sensitivity that starts coming when you meditate, when you do yoga, some people don't want to go over the line and they stop. They're like, oh, that's way too much.
Yep.
And I in fact just remember this conversation. This great student, regular, like 2 to 3 times a week, would practice beautiful practice. And I missed him. And I finally saw him. I go, what happened? He goes, oh, it was just getting too much. I was just getting too sensitive. I'm like, and he just completely stopped. Done. Wow. So it's not for the faint of heart.
No, it definitely isn't. I mean, I have had lots of tears on the cushion, lots of tears on the mat. I do Kundalini yoga, which that's really aggressive Yeah.
movement of Shakti, of Kundalini. Yeah, every time. Yeah, so go ahead, share some more about your Kundalini, and then I'll
No,
share some
no,
of mine.
no, that was it. It was just because, Kundalini yoga reminds me, when you're like, if you're fighting a little cold or a little something, and then you go get a massage and you come out and you're like dead sick. That's what Kundalini yoga is. Like, no, we're pushing this through. Like, you're going to feel it. You're going to feel it all. You're going to be fine.
Yeah, right. And so that's what I was going to say. Anytime that I'm going through hard moments in my life, go to Kundalini class. Everything will go fast. It will quickly burn that away. And all of a sudden you're like, oh, that was great. That was exactly what I needed. It's like that. It's like strong medicine. Medicine.
It is strong medicine. I guess that's why I love it so much, because I don't like to stay in that limbo zone,
It moves you really quickly. Yeah.
But
because what are we doing? What is yoga doing?
Yeah,
it's moving the prana. It's moving the stagnation.
The energy and moving it. And I also think of it as like lubricating everything, right? Like getting all the juices to go to all the areas, and that's energy. That's just energy. So that's physically, but really I'm talking mentally, because we have, nerves, whatever you call them, you yogi teachers, throughout our entire bodies. And, like I can see my youngest daughter, she has the back pain and the neck and and it's just all stuck energy. And I
that is the premise of, and the beginning of accessing your true energy signature. Because if you can't access a body and it's not open and fluid, then it's hard to actually live your inner authority, live your truth, live yourself. So the body is key. We are in these vehicles. And I just want to share a little bit about the structure of what human design is, because there's a data point that's taken 3 months before you're born. And that is representing every aspect of the unconscious genetic code that you get from your ancestors. And it's 3 months, a calculation 3 months before you're born. And then when you're born, you get this soul calculation, or the essence of eternal knowing of who I am. And we call it the mind or the personality. And that's out at the point of birth. And so then these things are a forced marriage. They're like coming together to make your body graph. And what's going to take precedence? Of course, our body. So eventually, when you start really honoring this energetics and stop living from the mind, your all the red becomes up front and center. It becomes bigger, and it is truly who you are, the body essence. And the mind goes, okay, I'm along for the ride. I'll listen to the body now.
Right, because most of us are allowing the mind, right, to control. And this is where I really, really, really learned this. So I haven't had alcohol in 3 years. I don't consider myself sober or whatever. Just no alcohol, right? And it doesn't mean I do a bunch of other things. I just don't love labels. So, but I came to that place because I went back and read my diaries. And my diary was like, I wish I didn't drink. I wish I drank less. And I'm like, wait, what? Who the hell is being like, just have a glass of wine, just do this? Like, that can't be the same person. Like, what is that? Like, and I never was so aware of that inner voice, right? Which I guess is the mind. It's the mind or the body? See, I get confused here.
Well, I'm unclear. What the question is? So you're decided to stop drinking because you went back and you read your journals, and your inner voice is saying, you think you were saying over and over again,
the inner voice is saying, drink, just drink. You're tired. You deserve it. You had a long day. Just have right. That voice is like, have the ice cream.
Okay.
You don't need to go for a walk. You don't need to do this. Right. Just stay in bed. Like, that voice. That's not me. Right. My deepest desire. I believe the deepest desires are what I'm writing in my journal. Right. When I have the space and I have the presence and the awareness and the consciousness. And I'm sitting here writing.
Got it. Yeah.
Like, because I do automatic writing too. I've been
Oh,
practicing that,
right. Yes.
for a long time. And then I'm like, when I didn't really think much of it, so I went back and reread, which I never had a practice of doing, and I now do, because that's the automatic writing or the intuitive writing is your deepest desires and what you really want. Yeah. So it's the body. Say that again, what you said about the body mind, because I know this in theory, but I always mess it up.
Okay.
We allow our mind to control our body.
It is a deep, deep knowing that when we honor the mechanics or the circuit board in our body, that what will take precedent when we start this experiment of living the energetics is that the body will take the front and center, and the mind will naturally just go to the back seat, and the body will be the driver.
Yes. Yeah. And that's exactly it. And it's counterintuitive, totally.
Right. Oh, because we're conditioned in society to, what? You're not using your mind. You're not thinking. You're ridiculed for being the intuitive. Say if you're splenic and you're really in it and you get that hit, or you're emotional and somebody is making you hurry, rush, and make a decision. Use your mind. Can't you make a decision right now? Make a decision right now. You can. You have a mind.
See, this is where I get confused too, right? Remember my 2:45 a.m., 3:45? I've transposed that a couple of times when doing my chart, right? And one is this, what is it? The sacral. Right? Sacral, okay. And the other is emotional, which I am the emotional.
So you are firm on the emotional time. So
yeah, but I don't. Okay. Yes, I am.
Okay.
But
okay. So you are an emotional being.
That's not. I don't feel like that's how I've ever made decisions. I feel like I can make quick decisions, and I feel like I've put pressure on people my whole life. Like when I was in real estate, I used to be like to buyers. I stopped working with buyers very early in my career because I'm like, pick a freaking house. Like, what's your problem? Not a big deal. Just pick one, right? And I'm very like I kind of very instinctually know what's right, what's wrong, what the next right thing is.
Right, but seriously, your nervous system. Okay, when you're an emotional being, your nervous system is like a baby. It needs to be soothed. You don't want to be shocked. You don't want to be surprised. You don't want somebody to come in and say, it's time to leave now. No, it's not good for your nervous system. You need to get up to speed, and your body needs to get ready for the next thing. You need long transition times, and it will soothe you, and it's a habit. So as a mother, if you have an emotional baby, you don't just, you give them like more than 5 minutes warning. We're going to be doing this next, and I'm going to put the timer on, and it's soothing. It's like you're a baby. You got to soothe that emotional system. It goes high and low and all over the place. Yeah.
You know what's beautiful, Tah? Like that is what I've given myself since I had the big business breakup and then the marriage started to, like, I have been in this transition for 2.5 years now, and I'm not in like hustle and grind mode. Although I like, if you look from the outside, if you look at my bank account or you look at this or that, like I should be, all right. But I've not. I've given myself that gift. Yeah. I've given myself the space and the time. And guess what? Like the money didn't run out. The world didn't crumble. And I can sense it's flowing to me.
Yeah. So attractive. That emotional body is attraction. It's sexuality. It is never going to not have attention. It is very upfront and center. It's what moves and creates and literally births. It's fertile, and it's attractive. It's so you'll never miss the boat. Yeah, it's always going to be there.
Exactly, and may not be it may not be the boat I was expecting, or that, that I was
Yeah.
attached to, or any of those things.
Yeah.
That's the thing too,
Yeah,
I mean,
because that's mind. That's mind. Having
yeah,
a preconceived idea,
too
having a
specific.
judgment on it. Remember, we started with the judgment
Yep.
thing.
Oh
And
yeah.
now not just going, oh, well, that worked out. That was good. Better
Yes.
than I could have ever imagined. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, isn't that a great way to live? It's
It
so
really is.
easy.
I mean, the
It's so much
freedom.
easier.
Yeah.
Freedom. It's a
And then
lot
when I
easier.
get like freaked out, like I'm not where I'm supposed to be, blah, 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 I started doing things this summer. Like when I felt that way, and it's like, okay, you have like $30 in your bank account, and the bank only tells you when you only have 30. They don't tell you when you've got 30,000, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, like I should be doing this. Da, da, da. I would go outside and count my flowers
Oh,
and
yeah.
count my tomatoes. And, I had the most pathetic garden in the world, but didn't feel that way. Like, it
Yeah.
was like,
I love that.
look at
That's
all these
great.
butterflies, look at all these bees, and look at all this. And then I started taking inventory of my day. How did I start my day? For the last 2.5 years, I have started every single day exactly how I want to.
Yeah.
I have almost my entire schedule is almost exactly what I want it to be.
Yeah.
I
Beautiful.
think
And
that,
then you get to do fun conversations like this. So
yes,
good.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
exactly.
good. So good. Yeah. Yeah. So that's what I do, help people find that inner spark again, I guess, and just to know that you can do that and not to be afraid because
Yeah,
it will all work out. It must. When
yeah,
you're in that high frequency, it must, because then your reality shifts.
yeah.
We have infinite
It's the
possibilities.
law. It's the law,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, it is the law.
I forget
So,
who says that, but I love it. I think it
yeah,
might be Joe Dispenza. It's
yeah,
the law. And you're like,
yeah.
ooh,
It comes from inside.
yes.
Comes from that inner rising of your kundalini. Huh,
Yeah,
that if we want to circle back to that, that's what it does. It
yeah,
raises that serpent energy, that shakti,
yeah,
and brings it into just this euphoric feeling. And then it's the law.
yeah,
Whatever's going to come out is going to be matching that. How
yes.
cool is that?
It's so cool.
It
It's
is
so
so
cool.
cool.
And
It is so
and
cool.
and this is why I love working specifically with business owners and entrepreneurs, because they have an abundance of energy. They have
Mhm,
like of creativity, and
mhm,
like,
mhm.
they're so if they get exposure to these kind of conversations and these kind of, then what you can do, I mean, the power to
Yeah,
really impact the world, if all these business owners and entrepreneurs sort of awaken to this energy and this possibility.
yeah. Right, because guess what? The the head, right? The owner, the one running it, trickles the frequency
Yes,
out to everyone in the
exactly. And the
business.
clients, and that they have,
Business.
they're the connectors. That's
Yes.
the word that I'm
Yeah,
looking for.
yeah,
They're the leaders and the connectors.
yeah,
So, whoa,
yeah,
like, I'm
yeah.
on this mission to help over 1 million people. I have different, depending on who I'm talking to, I'll say to awaken or to self actualize or become the
Mhm,
best version of themselves. And it's
mhm.
really all about going within.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
yeah, I
and
felt,
raising the frequency. Yeah.
yeah. And I
Of the
really,
company. Of
of
the
the
company.
company, and the
Yeah.
company is a living being.
Yes.
It's an
Yeah.
energetic.
It's
That's
good.
the
And
part.
this is so needed in this time, in this space on our planet, to shift the way business has been done to something else, to
Yes.
something high, to
Yeah.
something that will serve all of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's one of the first things I do. And
Yeah.
sometimes, depending on who I'm sitting across from and how we got introduced, when I'm helping them tack, so what's the greater good? What's the greater good that you're serving? And they're kind
Yeah.
of, and then when I help them to understand, listen, when you hire people to a greater good, they're more committed and more loyal, more excited, more
Yeah.
energetic, more, they
Yeah.
have more agency. They understand, when they understand that they're working for something that's a greater good for all, that it's also a greater good for them, and not just getting somebody rich or making a company's
Yeah.
KPIs look good. It's
Yeah.
it's that energy
Yeah.
is
It's
everything.
changing the moral compass
Yeah.
within.
Yeah.
and letting it trickle out and affect the whole entire organization. And the
Yeah.
frequency rises, and then it's just the law.
It is the law. And you see people like a Gary V. Gary V, in my opinion, really does embody the energy of being an entrepreneur and a business person. And there's lots of people. So he popped into my head because he has a CHO, Chief Heart Officer. Did you know that?
Oh, no, I didn't know that. And in fact, I'm so sorry. I'm just in my own bubble. Who is he? Tell me
Oh,
who he
okay.
is.
So, like, I think I read. So, Gary Vaynerchuk. Gary Vaynerchuk. Have you never heard of Gary V?
I'm
Woo!
so sorry. I'm in
No,
my
don't
bubble.
be
I'm in my
sorry.
bubble.
I'm in a bubble too. So, don't you worry. I don't
Okay.
know, like, anything pop wise, right? But Gary V, I guess I got introduced to him in the real estate world. He was a keynote speaker. He was the first influencer ever.
Okay.
He,
And
he
what does
really,
he do?
he started out selling wine. And now
Okay.
he's just like a very tremendous influencer, but he's opened up all kind. You got to look into him because you will
Okay,
see
well.
what I'm saying. So
All
he's
right.
he's one of the most successful people in the world, and all of his business is run through energetics. He has a chief heart officer, first
I love it.
ever in the world. Her name is Claude Silver. She was on the podcast. She's amazing,
Oh, nice.
and
Nice.
but there's it's happening more and more. That's
Right.
the point.
Right. So the trend, it's going to be more than a trend. It's going to be the way that business is done because when the contrast, the veils are so thin. We know this, that there's a shift, a huge shift on the planet. The
Yeah.
veils are so thin. So if you are not going to step up to the higher frequency, it's the death frequency. You're going to be gone, just diminished. It's going to dissolve. So either you do it or you go away.
Yeah.
That's how extreme it is right now.
It is. But so for me, I'm able to kind of lead people in that direction because I can help them see where, because not everybody's going to buy into it that way. Like, well, listen, my father was a Jehovah's Witness. No offense to anybody's a Jehovah's Witness, but basically their whole way was, if you don't do this, you're dying. And like, obviously not everyone's a Jehovah's Witness, and most people are like, ooh, right? So
I didn't know that they said that.
Oh,
but
yeah,
I don't mean to. Yeah,
no,
I don't mean to be
but I
an
understand
extremist, but you can kind of sense it.
But it's the truth.
Yeah.
But if I can approach these connectors with the sense like, listen, you're going to get better results this way. Yeah. And not only that, we are here to experience it all. We are worthy of it all because you should be able to have a successful business and your wife loves you and can't wait or your husband loves you, can't wait for you to come home, and like healthy relationships and just love just being, and your lazy time and your downtime without the guilt, without the phone, without all this. And so when they can see it from that perspective instead of,
sacrifice. So instead of sacrifice, you get a balance that is so healing and harmony. So powerful. Yeah. Balance and harmony instead of sacrifice, lack, and control.
Yeah. And when you live that way, like, it's okay if right now you're focusing 80 hours a week on work because the rest of your life is so imbalanced, or I like the word harmony, like that they're not neglected, even though you're not physically there, because the energy is there.
Yeah.
The love is there. This all of it's there, even though you might be over here right now. It's like mind blowing.
Yeah.
Mind blowing. Because there's so much sacrifice.
Because we can come back to time, and it's like there is no time.
No.
It is simultaneous time, and we can actually manipulate time. We can make it go fast, and we can make it go slow.
And that's what the awareness consciousness practice that I've been doing, like a little more intentional than meditation, is getting your mind into that place where there is no time. Yeah. And so now when I sit for 20 minutes, it feels like 2. And when I sit for an hour, it feels like 5.
Yeah.
Because
you're playing with time.
Yes.
Yeah. And we can do that when we're driving and we're late, or when we need a project done. we can compress time or extend time. We have that ability. We are like a high-tech thing. This is so cool.
And the proof is in the pudding. Like my whole entire life, I was better under pressure. Like, or like you compress the last minute.
And then all of a sudden it's done. Yeah.
You didn't need, and like, or the things that you procrastinate that end up taking like 12 minutes.
Yeah. It's crazy. I know.
We're putting that.
Yeah. And that's part of the veils being thin too. We're all getting more and more access to this magic. Yeah. Yeah. It's so fun. It's so fun. I love it. Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody asked me the other day. I actually somehow got involved with a coven, right? I just went into this world, and there's these beautiful people who call themselves witches. They are witches. Mm-hmm. And the more I learned about it, they're doing the same exact thing. And actually, that's where I first heard of human design, was in that group.
Oh, interesting. Yes.
But so somebody asked me yesterday, who do you think invented essential oils? I said, witches. And by the way, witches were the first doctors. Witches were the doctors. They were the healers. They weren't called witches, and witches didn't have this bad, but every village or community had a healer, and they were. And then I guess the patriarchy, like, I'm not trying to get into a feminist run here, but if you look at history, we're so threatened by that feminine energy that because we're healers and whatnot. So
and they were ostracized and killed.
Yeah.
And then the men would have to protect, and would hide the skill. And then you weren't allowed to show any of your skills or your talents.
And then
it's dangerous.
Then we turn to drugs instead of essential oils and herbs. I mean, that's really what witches are. Is they're kind of like botanists and healers, and in running on a lunar calendar and just in tune with nature, right?
Yeah. And so we're coming back. I mean, we are coming back to that, and the safety of those holistic doctors and healers is up front and center now, because we all know they get killed. There's a list of over 100 doctors. And that airplane with all the cancer physicians on there. I mean, how tragic is this? So we need to protect these people who are really coming up to serve us in a way that is not pharmaceutical. Yeah, it's changing. That's what this shift is all about.
It's so true. Coming back to basic, back to nature, back to those natural.
Yeah.
Natural.
Because it's not hidden anymore. It's up front and center. How obvious it's been squashed.
Yeah.
This natural healing within us.
For money.
Yeah.
For capitalism. And power.
Yeah.
And power.
All of it.
We're so powerful as it is.
Yeah.
We don't need all of that money.
I mean, and the trials that we put ourselves through for us to truly believe that about ourselves is what I'm seeing in you, because of your story, because of your personal journey. I'm like, oh my God, look at this beautiful woman. But you had to prove it to yourself.
I did. I mean, I still sometimes will go into that space, and that's why when I spent my whole life like hiding my story, right, about the drug addiction and the streets and all the things that go along with that, getting pregnant on the worst of circumstances, and I hid that. And now I realize the minute that I want to remember how amazing I am, just tell somebody that, because then they're like, what? Like what? And it's not that you understand what I'm saying here, right? It's like,
that's why I brought it up front and center. I'm like, look at this powerful woman, but she had to prove it to herself, and now she's glowing. You're glowing. You're dynamic, but the point was, we as humans need that contrast, and the contrast is just our gift, so that we can.
Do you think that people can just get to this place?
Oh, I think that we've done it for them, and now they can understand the frequencies of how and what that is, and it doesn't need to be that anymore, right?
And because we're attractive, because they're like, why do I want to be listening to her and around
Yeah.
her and like, what
Yeah.
is this,
Yeah.
right?
So, I mean, it's an incredible story, and it has significance, and the contrast makes it bigger. So, yeah, not to underestimate any of that. And some souls want that, and some don't. Your soul wanted that as its path.
It did. And the way that, so here, when I was probably like 5 or 6, right? When you really start having memories. I had this experience all the time. I don't know if I told you this already, but so like I'm in the car with my mom, and like when we walk outside the house, the car just appears when I come outside. And then when we start driving, the road only appears as we're driving. Gas stations, restaurants, this wasn't there until I show up. This was my experience. This is a like really intense memory that I have. And it was a very intense feeling when I was little that I really couldn't communicate to anybody.
Oh,
And so then when I remember this now and think of all that I've gone through, and like, why would you choose, like, listen, the person that turned me onto heroin, may he rest in peace, he actually OD'd last year. I hadn't seen him
mm,
since he left me on the streets of
wow.
West Palm
Wow.
Beach. But he was the one who turned me on, had much, obviously deeper addiction, right? Because it wasn't so much about the addiction for me. It was that I knew there was more. And I knew I wasn't surrounded by anybody who can tell me about it or
So hold
show
on one second. I Your open head is just so beautiful. I love it. And my defined head wants a little bit of
Yeah, yeah.
so this young 5-year-old, this manifestation of the car and the street. Please finish that thought. So then what
So
does that mean for
everything would
you?
just appear.
Okay.
I don't exactly know yet. I think I knew I was a creator. I think I
Okay.
knew the truth. I think
Okay.
I knew the truth. That's what it means.
Okay.
I knew the truth. Okay. I
That
knew.
you knew that you are the creator of your own reality is what you knew.
Yes.
Okay, there we go. I was just trying to find that like punchline.
Yes.
Sorry.
Well, I can only assume, right?
Yeah.
Because
Okay.
then
When you were
from
5, you knew this. You're like,
so
I am the
then
creator of my reality. The
right.
car appears.
And
The
I knew
road
there was
appears.
more, right?
Yeah.
There's
I got
more.
it.
But yet I didn't really have any role models. There was a lot of dysfunction. My dysfunction in my lineage goes, whew, like it's
Yeah,
intense.
that's the body side. That's
Mhm.
DNA. That's the ancestral stuff. So
Yes.
that's what I'm talking about. So when you say to me, does it always have to be like that? Well, 7 generations past, 7 generations in front, I am responsible. I will
Mhm.
help shift that DNA so
Yes.
that no, they won't have to do what I'm doing because I
No, exactly.
want it. Yeah,
Exactly. And
that's
not only
where
that, I believe
yeah.
that we heal that the past too. We heal
Yes.
all of
Oh,
our
yeah, it's
ancestors
both
from the past.
sides. It's both
Yeah, and they
sides.
tell me this all the time.
Yeah.
They're here. I
Yeah.
mean, they showed
Yeah.
up because
Yeah.
Justin
Yeah.
is my father-in-law. Just
Right.
just to let me
Wow.
know.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that is again back to the circle on time. There is no
Mhm.
such thing as time because we are infinite possibilities. And if time is simultaneously, of course, we're healing the 7 generations there
Yeah.
and there. Yeah. So it's all quantum.
Yes. And I
Yeah.
believe that I knew it. And
Yeah.
that's why I chose to go to the very, very bottom. Like
Yeah.
my boyfriend back then, the one that turned me on to heroin, we went through some
Hmm.
crazy times together. And then he left and he went back home to his parents and to safety.
Wow.
I
Wow.
stayed
Wow.
out. Like I chose to stay on the streets. And I really truly believe like I just knew there was more and I didn't know how to find it. And I just didn't want to be in this like
Mhm.
normal world because it didn't make sense to me the way everybody was behaving
Yeah.
and being and acting, and I didn't have any leadership or anything. So I chose to go the opposite way, but I had so many experiences there of divine intervention and just beautiful things.
Yeah,
And so,
synchronized moments,
yeah,
your angels watching you, protection, yeah, all of that. Yeah.
oh my
Ah,
God, I could talk to
I
you forever.
love it. Oh, good, 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 good.
So
Oh my gosh, this has been fun.
So
Yeah.
people want to learn more about human design and they want to work with you and they
Oh, I
want
would love that. So, my livingourhumandesign.com is the best place to go. You can get a book a clarity call with me, or you can book a full foundational reading with me. I also do the 3 months coaching program, which that's just what we just talked about, discovering that, finding out how to access your inner authority and make decisions from your body. That's the holy grail.
that is the
And
holy
it's
grail.
hard. And it's hard unless you have somebody who's done it or been there and knows how and can help guide energetically. Yeah.
Yeah, this is the next. I know I don't want to like teach human design. I want to master it though so that I can lead people to it.
Yeah.
Does that make
Yeah.
sense? Yeah. So
Oh
we're
yeah, and it's really simple. It's freeing. It's you already freeing yourself by soothing yourself and making sure that your emotional body is front and center. Front
yeah.
and center.
I didn't
And
do that for myself for so long. And it feels so good. It feels
yeah.
so good. I mean,
So
even things like I didn't even understand boundaries. Like someone was laughing at my blog the other day. They were like, "What do you mean that you didn't understand boundaries?" I'm like, "No, I thought boundaries were like a set of rules you give to people. Mm-mm.
yeah.
Boundaries are the ultimate self care. They are
Yeah.
the standards for which you live your life by.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
from what you allow in, the energy you
Yeah.
allow in, and I could just go on and on. I didn't even
Yeah,
understand.
that
I
gives
lost
me
track.
goosebumps because it's really truly about the confidence and the frequency that you give out. It's not about the words.
Yes.
It's not about the
You
words.
don't even need to say anything.
Yeah,
When
you'll
you're
just all of
there,
a sudden it's there. Yeah,
you're
because
embodying it.
you're in your skin and you're not letting anybody in you.
Yeah.
Yeah, to
And
pull at you.
I gave
Yeah,
off
yeah,
this aura for 29 years in my real estate empire of like no bullshit, like kind of tough and like did it. No, I was quite the opposite. I allowed everybody
mhm.
in, and everybody, is like my profile. Uh, I guess it's important because people project onto me,
Right,
and
your
so
fifth
like,
line. You're talking about your
yeah,
fifth line projection and how we believe that you could save us. You could save
right.
me.
But
You know
they're
the
projecting
answers.
onto
Yeah,
me. Yeah,
yeah,
the way that I was living, it was very dangerous because I'm allowing them to project what they
yeah,
want instead of projecting
yeah,
who
yeah,
I am because I
yeah.
didn't know who I was.
Yeah, so a fifth line not doing that is very detrimental
Oh, it
because
was
yeah,
it's
because
been
it's a huge projection field on you. Yeah,
mhm,
absolutely.
and
Sixth line, I'm already aloof. It's harder for people to access me. I'm a
yeah,
really kind of like, what Ta, what is Ta? And then they're aloof, I'm aloof. So they
yeah,
don't come, but a fifth line who's not protecting herself,
yeah. Oh
whoa.
no, I didn't
Yeah,
protect
yeah,
myself. I didn't, and
yeah,
now I'm learning. I don't want to
yeah,
act like it's
yeah,
and I'm doing more than learning. I'm doing. I'm
yeah,
being,
yeah.
not doing.
It's
I'm being.
okay. I just want maybe this will help you, and it's good. Um, because my 6'3" profile, very, very vulnerable and makes lots of mistakes and not really confident in my voice. And so I would go, oh my God, it's fifth line. I don't want to give a reading to a fifth line. I don't like fifth lines. So do that. You're supposed to do that. You guys
Yeah.
are pretty unapproachable. I mean, yeah, because it's just like, get away, get
Yeah,
away.
no,
Yeah,
and
you're
that's
supposed
what
to be
people
that
love
way.
or hate me. I'm very
Yeah.
isolated. I have like, a handful of friends that would do anything in the world for me. I have a lot of acquaintances, but
Mm.
most of them don't like me.
That's good.
Yeah.
You're living your life. You're living that fifth line.
Yeah.
Keep
But
doing it. Yeah.
it's like I lived it to some degree, but I didn't have that part of projecting out who I am because
Yeah.
I didn't know. I just didn't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
So now that so I had that part, but it wasn't whole. Back to that word,
Yeah.
being in your
Yeah.
wholeness.
The the most the best way to know about that is that the fifth line gets comes in late, leaves early. That kind of thing.
Mm,
Like you don't linger and you
yeah,
come late. that's it.
Yeah.
Because your time is precious,
Yeah.
and it's more for strangers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm so
So there you
excited.
go.
We're
Yeah,
gonna
good.
do some things together. We're gonna do
Oh,
things.
good.
We're
I would
gonna do
love
things.
to. That's good.
It's
All
super
right.
very fun. Well, thank you
Thank
so
you for
much.
having me.
We'll have all Tah's links and ways to access her, when we put this out. So if you're driving and listening, don't panic. Just go back and look at the information on the podcast, and so much more to come on human design.
Oh, wonderful.
Thank you
you for
so
having
much.
me. All right. Bye.
Oh, how do I end? Oh, there you go.